Welcome back. Across the Suncoast around Florida, from one end of the country to the other, there is just something about high school football games. We put our politics aside and we root for the kids, some of them who have dreams of the NFL, but increasingly fewer kids are playing football. Fewer parents want them to, because increasingly we're seeing the cost, the broken bodies and brain injuries to many of the game's biggest stars. Is there a way to fix the sport better? Helmets? Better technique? Joining us for more are three-time Super Bowl champion Henry Lawrence, Dr. George Roselle, who treats retired NFL players, and Todd Cronetti, head coach at St. Stephen's Episcopal School. And Coach, let me start with you. Are you starting to see fewer kids go out for your team?
I don't think it's a new problem. I think for the last several years we've seen people ask the question, is it really worthwhile for our kids to be playing tackle football? And we've been dealing with that for several years now. Certainly, as a high school coach, we have a lot more conversations with parents, much more in-depth conversations about what we do and how we do that. But we've seen the numbers drop over the last several years.
Henry, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think it's a normal thing, parent being protective. And I'm seeing that it's not just football. I have a friend whose daughter was playing soccer, had a major concussion. She had to even stay home, do dog room, not even go to school. So it's not just a football issue that we're dealing with. And first of all, these kids starting to play football. I'm not a medical expert, but at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I've always thought that a kid, make them play flag football till they learn the game. And when they get older, 11, 12, 13, then start. But by the time you get to high school, college, I mean, kid has been out there banging for a long time. And I know they say you hit this way and that way, but the basis of football, I don't think will ever change. And if you ever change the basis of football, then you don't have football. And right now, you're getting a lot of no football also.
I want to talk about the different techniques used for tackling and so forth a little bit later on. But Doctor, we are already seeing evidence. Aaron Hernandez with the Patriots, college football players, high school football players that unfortunately pass away, and they do these examinations, and even as young as high school players, they're seeing CTE.
Yes, as Henry was saying, most of these NFL players that I've treated started in youth football, and the brain is still very immature, still developing, doesn't reach maturity until the mid to late 20s. So that's not a time when you want to injure the brain, and it accumulates. The more times you have concussions, the more vulnerable your brain is, and the second concussion syndrome and the third concussion syndrome can be very severe.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. Our conversation on preventing football injuries continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. The weather headlines read like this. We are looking at a shower and some thunderstorm kind of afternoon, late afternoon and evening as a result of approaching cold front. Now, that front will move through midday on Thursday. You'll start to see some cooler temperatures start to work their way in too by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. And then Friday morning, we're looking at lows down into the mid-50s in most places. And then we'll be back to average by Saturday night. That means temperatures will be in the low 60s. At least we'll get back to average. We've been so far above it over the past several days now that it's going to be feeling rather cool considering what we've been going through. Still warm tonight, mid-70s by 11 o'clock tonight, and partly cloudy skies expected. There's a slight chance for a few passing showers, very light sprinkles, if you will, through this evening, but the heavier rain, and it won't be all that heavy, will be tomorrow late afternoon, evening, and into Thursday morning as this system gets organized to the north of us and to the west of us. A little area of low pressure will eventually swing this cold front our way. It is cooling things down already over the panhandle of Florida with that rain and moving through. You see the heavier storms well to the west and north of us right now, pushing off to the east. A little bit of light rain still being detected by the radar this evening near Tampa Bay and also near St. Petersburg, the north end of Anna Maria Island, a little bit of rain activity there. This could be some light sprinkles as well into Manatee County. I mentioned those cooler temperatures. Look at this, 50s right now in Pensacola, Tallahassee at 59 degrees, 20 degrees warmer though in Orlando and Sarasota, and 83 now in Key West. Temperatures around the coast, all in the 77. Temperature there at 79 in Arcadia, still 81 in Placida and Sebring. Tomorrow we'll start off right around 74 degrees, so it will be warm. It'll still be muggy. We'll see partly cloudy skies in the morning. And then by, say, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, not so much thunderstorm activity. I think we'll see showers mainly Rain will be moderate to at times moving through and through Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Well, here's the GFS forecast model showing you that Tuesday, and then this is today. Now we'll move through time. You'll see Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A few showers pushing on, a better chance for rain on Tuesday evening, Tuesday night. The stronger cells will be near that area of low pressure, which will be moving across the state. And then snow falling into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Got a rain-snow mix there as a double-barrel low-pressure center moves off to the northeast there and then kind of wraps around, bringing more snow into West Virginia and parts of western Pennsylvania. But for us, we'll get that northerly wind beginning tomorrow. I should say Thursday afternoon, continuing on Friday. High pressure builds in for the weekend. Weekend is looking outstanding with some sunshine, temperatures in the mid-70s on Saturday, and looks like mid to upper 70s on Sunday. And then another storm system gathering. Long-range forecast showing another system that won't be a tropical system, but it'll be a low-pressure area. Could possibly be moving through on Thanksgiving. So we'll watch it. It's a long way off, and could be a day earlier, could be a day later, but I do think we'll see a low-pressure area bring us some changing weather by mid to late week next week. Now, as far as the forecast goes for boaters, seas will be running 2 to 3 feet. There'll be a light chop to moderate chop in the bays and inland waters. The extended forecast then, 60% chance for rain tomorrow afternoon and evening, 40% on Thursday morning, and then cooler weather. Look at the highs, the low 70s on Friday, same on Saturday, upper 70s on Sunday. Just a perfect weekend, lots of sunshine and lower humidity. Al will be back with his panel right after this. Stick around.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Being empowered starts with getting informed, looking closer. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. But many of us don't know there are different types of breast cancer with different characteristics. That was me. Learning about the specifics of my diagnosis gave me the confidence to make informed treatment decisions with my doctor. This meant everything to me and my family. So take another look. Ask another question. Learn more at notonetype.org.
Welcome back. We are talking about making high school football safer. And joining us for more are three-time Super Bowl champion Henry Lawrence, Dr. George Chorzell, who treats retired NFL players, and Todd Quinetti, who is the head coach at St. Stephen's Episcopal School. Coach, did you see the helmets that we showed in that story? And do you believe that is going to help coaches and help keep kids safer?
Right. Sure. The coach makes a great point about having a data set of information to respond to. And that's what we haven't had in the past, is information to understand what the load on a player looks like through the course of a game, through the course of practice. That helmet actually is not unique in its structure. It's a Rydell helmet that's worn by a lot of people in a lot of places. It's the technology inside of the helmet that allows them to read the impacts. And we're actually beta testing a mouthpiece right now with a company out of Minnesota that gives us information. It goes right to the iPad that our trainer has on the sideline when there's an impact for a player, and it measures the size of the impact. And in some cases, even if player's not showing symptoms, but we can go ahead and check and see how they're doing.
Doctor, do you think that's going to help?
I think it can help some, but the problem with the helmet is it gives the player a false sense of security and safety. And the more technology they're wearing, the more they can play with reckless abandon. I played rugby for a number of years with no helmet whatsoever. I never forgot that I didn't have a helmet on, and I was always very careful. So in many ways, that's even safer. But the helmet was designed to prevent the skull from fracturing. The damage happens inside the skull when the brain is being sloshed around. So we got a ways to go in terms of making it safe.
Henry, knowing what you do about NFL football, do you think it's possible to ever design a helmet that is really going to prevent serious brain injury like we're seeing right now?
Well, from my understanding, a helmet has been produced several years ago that was available also to the NFL. They decided not to because, from my understanding, some deal with Rydell, the helmet people. But a helmet has been designed that is supposed to absorb the impact.
Where is it?
Yeah, I think there were a couple of problems with that. One, it doesn't make a loud bang when you hit because there's padding on the outside, so it's softer, which I think is a better idea. But the fans like the big hits.
Wow. The other question I had here is that with these new improved helmets, could we be facing an issue that school systems that have the money to be able to afford them will be able to get them for their players, and schools where are struggling financially will not?
I think potentially you could absolutely see situations like that, which is why the work I've done with USA Football has been around changing the way that we tackle, changing the language attached to tackling, actually taking a lot of nods from rugby and understanding ways to make a tackle without the head being involved in contact as much. You can never take the head completely out of contact, but we are able to use different parts of the body to strike, different parts of the body to take somebody to the ground that minimizes the amount of the head is used.
And I want to get into this more in the next segment, but Henry, you did express some concern earlier that if you change the game too much, it's not going to be football.
Well, I think the basics of football, as far as I'm concerned, will never change. And my concern, the different techniques that they are doing now, when you consciously say, okay, you're going in to make the tackle, and you're getting ready, and then you consciously think, well, I got to move my head. Well, there's a possibility kids grown up could break their neck just from the impact trying to move their head out of the way. And I'm not an expert in that area, but that is one of the things that I've thought about that could be a problem.
Okay, we have to take another quick break. We are just getting warmed up. Our conversation on preventing football injuries will continue after a quick break, so stay with us.
It's year-end clearance time at every Gettle location. Over 3,000 new vehicles, over 1,000 used vehicles on clearance right now at Gettle.com. And Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Get credit help, fast cash for your car, and year-end clearance prices right now at a Gettle dealership near you. Gettle's got it. At Gettle.com.
says Art, Sarasota's only area rug superstore.
It fell off the roof of my car.
It fell out of my backpack.
Oh, it fell off my grocery cart.
I tossed it to a really clumsy friend.
I tripped while jogging.
My 2-year-old had a temper tantrum.
It bounced down 2 flights of stairs.
No matter how you broke your smartphone, there's only one smart way to fix it. Batteries plus bulbs.
I dropped it on the floor, and he stepped on it.
Schedule your repair at batteriesplus.com.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. You're watching ABC 7 News at 7:30.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about making high school football safer, and joining us for more are 3-time Super Bowl champion Henry Lawrence, Dr. George Rozelle, who treats retired NFL players, and Todd Quinetti, head coach at St. Stephen's Episcopal School. Coach, let me ask you this, and then Henry, I want you to comment on it. Coach, if you could explain how you're changing tackling and hitting techniques to try to avoid injury.
Well, it starts with the language and how we teach it. You know, you would hear people yell from the sidelines, you got to put a hat on somebody, things like that, that just encourage players to be striking with their head. We would teach things like bite the ball, which was taking the player's head right into the middle of the ball carrier's body. And so now we talk about striking with different parts of the body. We talk about the head being up and away from contact when they do make contact, and just re-emphasizing those points. You've seen more and more of the rugby tackle start to take hold as well, and that's actually tackling somebody with the head behind, which, you know, even 5 years ago was an unforgivable sin in football in many places. And so now, as we realize that we can tackle effectively and keep the head away from contact, that change in language and that reinforcing language has made a big difference.
Correct me if I'm wrong, a big thing in sports is muscle memory, that you learn early and hopefully it becomes second nature in terms of how you tackle. How do you have success when kids have been playing from a very early age to teach them a different way of going about tackling?
Well, we're in the business of teaching young people, and so we want to take everything and break it down to the most understandable level possible, to put it into steps, to put it into a process, to give it language that matters and connects with the athlete. And so it's just a matter of taking that information and teaching it as precisely as we can and reinforcing it properly when it's happening at full speed.
Henry, what do you think about the different techniques that the coach was talking about?
Well, I think that what people don't realize is these athletes, these kids are smart. I mean, many of them are allowed to play dumb or act like they're dumb, but they're not. You know, when they're able to learn, you know, a multitude of plays and different positions and different zones, that's not dumb. So they're capable of learning it. And at that age, I mean, if you're teaching it, then you become conditioned to do what you need to do to apply to the rules.
We're seeing a lot of commercials, if you watch, the NFL games, of NFL coaches talking about teaching NFL players different tackling techniques right now. At that level, are players going to be able to change?
I think so. I look at what they're doing now, and actually when I played, a lot of the stuff they're doing, I did it. I didn't do a whole lot with my head then. My thing was the Bama guy with my hand. You get your body strength, and most times I didn't have to use my head because I used that, So they're capable of learning it.
Doctor, and I know that you mostly, when you work with NFL players and other football players, you're dealing with their head injury and so forth. But as a physician, could these different techniques result in different kinds of injuries than we're seeing now?
There are a lot of different kinds of head injuries, and they say if you've seen one head injury, you've seen one head injury, depending on the angle that you're hit. And there's a difference between football injuries and hockey injuries and soccer injuries. But what we see is, there's a lot of white matter damage, similar to someone in a car accident. You get the diffuse axonal injury, and we see that as a measure of connectivity. And then, there are power differentials in terms of that's more gray matter. And the injury can be anywhere, and it can manifest. And then usually where there's head injury, there's also been, neck injury, and there's been muscle misalignment. Most players I see are in chronic pain, and a lot of them have become addicted to the pain medications, and
a whole
it just spirals.
Right. Coach and Henry, I want to ask you this question from two different perspectives. As you have been implementing some of these new techniques, there are a lot of people who go to these games, even high school games, knowing what they used to know about high school football and still wanting those big hits and wanting those kids to be fearless in that kind of way. Do you encounter that?
We struggle with the fact that we're needing parents to change their language as well, and the way that they talk about the game and the way that they celebrate or reinforce a particular type of hit. We need everybody to understand that we're teaching a game that is safer. We're teaching those techniques for a reason, but we still want our players to be aggressive and to be physical. Make no mistake, those are the hallmarks of a great football player.
Okay, and Henry, what do you think about the new NFL rules? I mean, they are taking steps to try to avoid some of these injuries here. It seems week to week what you can do in terms of getting to the quarterback is a little bit different than and open to interpretation.
I think it's doable. I look back, and even when I played defense, I mean, some of this stuff boils down to common sense. You're going into a play. I mean, basically, if the guy's going down, I mean, use common sense. You can go by the play. You can pull up. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, and I think that's what the refs are doing to make sure that the kid know, well, if you can pull it, then pull up, go by. It's not an impossible task.
But you do hear a lot of NFL players complaining about it right now.
Yeah, because, that in my day, I mean, you lay it on. That was the only way.
Especially the teams that you played for.
That was the only way you could do it.
Oakland Raiders, ladies and gentlemen. And so I would imagine, Coach, are you also seeing that in terms of Florida high school football, that the FSHAA is really telling umps and referees, this is what you got to look for, and this is you be a little bit more stricter in some of these rules.
Sure. So the Florida High School Athletic Association, the National Federation of High Schools, they're going to have points of emphasis every year for their officials. And those points of emphasis in the last several years have had to do with head contact, with launching, with anything considered targeting. So those things become points of interest, and they're asking them to reinforce them. It is interesting that there are officials who've been watching this game and officiating it for 20 years who are now being asked to see it differently and to call it differently. And that's all part of the challenge as well.
That's a different kind of mindset. So Doctor, if we're wrapping up this discussion, what do you want mom and dad who are watching this right now to know if they're thinking, if their kid is expressing interest to play football, whether it's, you know, Pee Wee football or going into high school, you know, those families who are more reluctant to allow their kids to play?
Yeah, I think, again, it's about education and awareness. The parents need to, and the child needs to know what the risks are, what the benefits are. I mean, football can be a great game, and any kind of organized athletics. I had daughters that played soccer and had concussions, but you know, there's the benefit, I think, outweighs the risk. But once you've had one concussion, then the best choice probably is to, you know, not play that sport anymore. And
Henry, one concussion.
Well, not just concussion, but caution. You know, when I was playing, now that I know what it's about, I had a lot of concussions. I had got in the huddle, and as quarterback kind of hold up a little bit, you know, to get the sideline. They give you some smelling salts. Say, how many fingers you hold up to? And you say 3. So he all right, get back in there. But they're taking the precautions now, and I think that is something that has to be done.
And Coach, you know, I hear this conversation all the time that we are going to start seeing this in about 10 years as some families are more reluctant to have their kids play, that as they get to the high school level, as they get to the college and pro level, that it's going to change the game because there are going to be fewer players out there.
I think that's a reality. That's something we need to be prepared for. And we need to think about the way we train young people who are going to play the game. We have to talk about whether or not contact football is really the right answer for kids as young as 5 years old, as Henry mentioned before. And we need to be able to build them and develop their skill set so that when they're able to play at the contact level, that they're more confident and that they're ready to play the game. But certainly there are concerns around the diminishing numbers, and the NFL worries about a shrinking workforce. There are a lot of concerns about that. At this point, all we can do is coach our kids to play the safest game possible with the best information we have.
Doctor, I would imagine that, and we only have a few seconds left, but it's impossible to create pads and helmets that are going to solve all problems.
No, it's not possible. But I think the good news is these conditions are treatable. We have the neurotechnology now to accurately diagnose and to treat, and we can restore function and reverse a lot of the damage.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of you said about last night's show on the midterm recounts. With 3 statewide races being too close to call and thousands of uncounted ballots, the state has ordered a recount. We went to Facebook to hear your thoughts, and Diane says, I believe it is what it is. No recount. We should accept what it is. But Irma says, in a democracy, all votes count. And John says it's all part of the process. Less outrage and more education of folks who like to scream online would be welcome. Absolutely. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast. We want to thank our guests, 3-time Super Bowl champion Henry Lawrence, Dr. George Roselle, who treats retired NFL players, and Todd Cornetti, head coach of St. Stephen's Episcopal School.